The opinions expressed on this program are solely those of its hosts, guests, or callers, and do not necessarily represent the opinions of WTBR-FM, its management, other producers, or sponsors.
Well, the Good Wallace didn't get herself ejected in the state final for some dumb stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't want to say I dreaded showing up to this football game on Friday night, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Like, if you want to talk, you have to talk into the microphone. There we go. Mic to mic. I'm lost.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Pittsfield Community Radio, 89.7 WTBR-FM, Pittsfield 88.1 WSBR Lee. This is Bird's Eye View. Jesse and Mike here. Hankus Pankus is giving the WTBR radio station a free vacuuming. So be on the I guess I can't say lookout. It's a radio station, but you might be able to hear it in the background. This is child labor, and we're not sure if we're breaking child labor laws, but it's with the express written consent of his parents. He's payment in Cheerios. There you go. That's true. That you're working for something, I suppose, at that point. I mean, this is basically what they need to do with all the Taconic kids, right? All the various maintenance problems in the city, just have them go out and fix them. I mean,
yeah. You see it sometimes where the wood class built the dugouts or something.
Yeah.
Built the I know at the new Taconic track facility they were supposed to be building like the like a shed for discus stuff or
right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's under construction. You can see it. I mean, it makes perfect sense to. If you're having the kids learn carpentry skills, have them actually learn carpentry skills.
Sure.
And I mean, they're all the auto shops in the city are talking about not having enough staff. It's like, well, apparently Taconic is like 6 bays, and they're teaching kids mechanical skills. Either do some internship programs or let me take my car into there to get an oil change. Like I'll give them $10 and I'll do it with the understanding that maybe something will go wrong and I'll have to take it to Firestone. But like come on, let's put these kids to work. What's up, Hankus? You taking I mean, you know what? This is good.
Break time.
This is break time. If your union leader was here, then he would tell you that you should absolutely be doing that. Where's your cigarette? That is a question. Yeah. Anyway, it is a drizzly day here in Pittsfield, which makes sense because it was really nice the last few days. So the last vestiges at the end of winter.
Can't have nice things.
Can't have nice things. No.
I saw like someone posted like, can you plant in Massachusetts yet? And it was like, hell no, because might hit freezing this weekend.
That's fun.
So yeah, you don't want your plants in the ground just yet. It seems like
no.
Even like the past few days, I was out back. I was like, I could start like working on this. Did not, but
yeah, no. Given that, if you planted them and then 3 days later they all died, that would be kind of a bummer. There was something I was going to talk about. Now I completely forgot what it was. That's a pain. In any case,
Celtics?
No. Well, maybe that was what it was. Celtics did not close it out. They are playing tonight. Being in the newsroom with Mike when the Celtics were playing was very funny.
It wasn't as bad as last year.
No.
I think we were at the office last year for one of the 20-point blowing the losses to the Knicks. Yeah. Yes.
I also think we were there when they won the game after Tatum got hurt. And your dad was texting you like, well, this was fun even though it's over. And you're like, they're winning! Enjoy it!
Yeah, yes. I believe it. My dad does do that.
You were very much denying
Let's
the inevitable.
live in the moment here.
Yes, live in the moment. There you go. But yeah, no, the Celtics not closing things out, just no shock there. We'll see if I don't think the Sixers
can
take it. You know what? I can believe they go to 7. I don't think they're winning the series though, unless Joel Embiid has 2 more amazing games in them.
This will be Embiid on 1 day's rest, which is that's my hope. That's what I'm thinking going in. I'm like, there's no way this guy can do this.
You need Tyrese Maxey and BJ to be a lot better than they had in the last game. In any case, baseball. We just wrote about. We've been keeping track of the Mike's done a great job keeping track of the strikeout leaders.
We'll see. No one's complaining. I was like, did I do a great job? How many emails are we going to get today? They're like, this is wrong.
I haven't gotten any emails yet. I don't know about the other account, but I haven't gotten any emails yet. Do want to mention Matt Egan for Pittsfield, who I mentioned quite the top of the story, because he has been just a revelation for the Generals. We knew about Jay Cody. We knew about Simon Melly. Simon Melly's going Division 1 to UMass Lowell. Jay Cody, well, he was going Division 2. We're going to see what happens there now that Emory is going down to D3.
Yeah.
But two very hard-throwing, high 80s guys. And then Matt Egan is more of a junk ball contact pitcher, but he has been excellent for them. He has a .618 ERA so far this season, just phenomenal. And Mike, can you pull up the spreadsheet of my story? Just how many Ks he get in 20?
Sure, yeah. I was just looking up because I did. Speaking of Egan, he is also a college commit. He was one of the 4 that signed on that day, and he was actually the one I focused on because we had already done the 2 D1 guys. And I believe he had a injury last year that kind of kept him off the field. Softball, baseball. Matt Egan, we have 5th, 22 and 2/3 innings, 29 Ks.
There you go. So doing pretty well there. And then you add in Jay Cody and Simon Melly, who, like I said, they're both going to play in college. Jay Cody, 1.235 ERA. Simon Melly, 2.579 ERA. Just that's a 3-headed monster. And it's really, really, really hard. And it's helped the Generals because when you're resting Cody, when you're resting Melly, now you have this other guy who you don't have to worry about. And he can go 6 innings, and you're not worried about, how much of the other bullpen do I have to get in? And then when Melly's in, do I need to have him pitch longer because the bullpen is shallower because we've had more of a general day when they're not pitching, and you don't have to worry about that because you have 3 legitimate starters now. And so, it's just been an excellent emergence for Pittsfield, which is the number 3 ranked team in Division 3. The last 2 years, we should back up and let me break this down. Okay. So in the statewide era, they started out in Division 3, Pittsfield did, just like DeConnick. Mm-hmm. And they were there for 2 years. They made 1 round of 16. And then they moved to Division 4, or moved down to Division 4, I should say. And in Division 4, the first year they were in Division 4, they went to the state final, lost to Seekonk. And then last year they went to the Final Four. They were the number 1 overall seed, got upset by Millbury, which won the whole thing. Now they're back in Division 3. So we did have some questions about power rating. Where were they going to be? They're number 3 in Division 3 right now. Great start. They're about midway through their regular season schedule. So Generals doing very, very well. And it'll be really interesting to see, however, they face that higher level of competition in the statewide tournament. But as of right now, they're doing excellently against Western Mass competition. They did beat Auburn, which is a Central Mass team, and there's a chance they could play in states, which is kind of funny. But then, in Class B in Western Mass, Pittsfield, 2-time reigning champ, is the number 1 overall seed by a healthy margin. DeConnick, which is the team they beat for the Western Mass Championship last year, is number 2. Wacona, which is the team Pittsfield beat for the Western Mass Championship 2 years ago, is number 3. So you have a Berkshire top 3, and that would be a pretty fun championship if it's Pittsfield versus the winner of DeConnick-Wacona. Yeah,
it would be Pittsfield hopefully going up against one of the other 2 kind of elite pitchers in Berkshire County right now. Would be
DeConnick's Quentin Christopher or Wacona's James Rebuse, who neither have really had much time on the mound, just with some injuries, and they both had Quentin Christopher got back for DeConnick once, and he didn't go much. I think only 3 or 4 innings. He only went 3 or 4 innings, but massive innings. Helped DeConnick to a huge win over Springfield Central. That's a D1 team. Central is number 5 in Division 1 and beat Pittsfield High. So that's a huge win for DeConnick as they've tried to right their ship here. And James Rebuse for Wacona is a D1 commit to Northeastern. He only pitched 3 innings and a win over New Hampshire. And in 3 innings where you need 9 outs, he got 8 strikeouts. So doing pretty well. He's also hit 4 or 5 home runs this season. So to get them back healthy, back in the rotation, those teams are going to seriously get some reinforcements because of that. And if both of them are on the bump, in the semifinal game, that's going to be fireworks.
Yeah, I believe very well could pitch against one another on Saturday. There's a decent chance of that. Taconic and Wacona will face each other.
I imagine that's a Howard game.
Potentially. But then, yeah, Pittsfield-Taconic is early next week as well. So, a big couple days for Taconic in particular, who kind of needs these wins more than the other teams do. Obviously, Wacona and Pittsfield have plenty of wins so far.
Yeah, Taconic is 25 in Division 3, so still inside the top 32, would still be an automatic qualifier, but they have a losing record. They did go on a 3-game winning streak that was snapped last night by Mount Anthony. 3-0 loss, tough loss. Defense played well, but offense just mustered one hit, and that's not going to do it. So that snaps their win streak, but they have been making some strides here for sure, which is really nice to see. And a team that made a lot of strides after a rough start of the season, Drury, number 1 seed in Class C, reigning Class C champion. They are number 3 in Division 5, coming off a Final Four trip. Connor Hinkle for Drury, another ace who's going D2. He has not pitched yet, but he has been really excellent in the field and at the plate. So that has still helped. Carson Rylander, I believe, is our leader in strikeouts.
Yep. Yeah, I mean D1. Yeah, D1 commit for
Who is
pitching.
also a D1 commit for Mariners. I was waiting for you to say what his numbers are.
Oh, he's got 35 Ks in 21 1/3 innings.
So pretty good when you're getting 1.5 Ks an inning.
Yep. Yeah, he's heating up. Over the past couple weeks as well. After a bit of a slow start, I know he was on the hill in that opener, where they got kind of blasted by. No, I guess not blasted.
It was 6-3 to Wacona,
yeah, they lost to Wacona. And I don't think he pitched a ton of innings in that game. So he's definitely picked it up. Yeah, him. And then the next, number 2 and number 4 are both from Mount Everett. Darius Taliaferro, Brody Kinna, who Mount Everett's 11-0 now. They win.
Yep.
Yeah, they won yesterday, so 11-0 now. And then Gus Luff in there as well, kind of a workhorse for a team that's struggling to give not a lot of run support coming out of Monument, but he's got 32 Ks in 25 innings. Matt Egan right up there, Jay Cody. Egan, it was a torn hamstring. That's why he wasn't available much last year. Then Mason Daly, who pitched Lennox by Taconic, is number 7 there, 26 Ks.
Ooh, he's giving me a chair. This is a new one. He's never pushed a chair over to me before.
And we got a bunch of young guys on Lee that are kind of popping here and there with the schedule that Lee plays. It's been. Things are, despite today, heating up.
So Drury is number 1 in Class C. They beat Greenfield for the championship last year. Greenfield's number 2, but Drury's got a wide lead power rating-wise. Lennox, Greylock, and McCann are all in Western Mass if it started today. And then Mount Everett is number 1 in Class D. So they're coming off a semifinal trip last year. That's huge. They look like they've made the leap, and they're the number 1 seed in Class D. Hopkins Academy, which is always a great baseball program, is right behind them. But even if you're 1 or 2, you're still getting home field to the final. So, yeah, they look like they're... Oh, you got a vacuum under here? Sorry, the union boss is telling me I got to move my chair. Because of the emergence of Taliaferro and Kinna, who replaced their 2 pitchers from last year, they got 2 lefties, and their defense makes plays and they can hit the ball well. They look like a very, very good team who should be dangerous come tournament time, and they're number 4. They're number 4 in D4. They went to the quarterfinals last year. They lost to Drury. So right now, Drury 3, Mount Everett 4 in the state, and that's awesome. Yeah,
I was just looking up at Hopkins' schedule. So Hopkins is 10-1. Their one loss was to Frontier. They will be at Monument on Sunday.
I don't imagine
Sunday
that'll be a close game.
No, that's just their only Berkshire County opponent this year. So
okay. But yeah, so baseball it looks like it could be a pretty good baseball season. Wacona is, I believe, number 13 in D4 in the state. And then in D5, Lennox is in the top 15, I think. Lee is in the top 32. McCann is in the top 32. So there's a lot of Berkshire teams being well represented in the state rankings. That finally came out blissfully.
Yeah, and I mean, like basketball, it's we're gonna have Berkshire County's gonna have the 1 seed in all 3 of the PVIAC tournaments that they're in
as of right now. Yeah. And then on the softball side, not quite as good. Hoosick Valley is the kind of the
Clear.
the clear, the
Clear cut
banner holder, which is what we expected. That's what we've been saying. That's what we expected. 11-0 on the season. They are the number 1 overall team in Class D. They were the Class D runner-up last year, lost to Turner's Falls. Turner's Falls is not what it has been. They seem like a pretty hard-hitting team. They hit the ball well. They score a lot of runs, but they do not have the defense they had because their pitcher graduated. So they are very, very different from what they have been. And they're the number 2 seed in Class D. So Hoosick, very good chance to win the Western Mass Championship. And Hoosick is the number 2 overall team in Division 5, although Georgetown is number 1, and Georgetown is so far out in front of everybody else. They have a power rating that'd be competitive up in D1, which is kind of crazy. But Hoosick still number 2. They're little ahead of number 3 Hopedale, which beat Hoosick in the quarterfinal last year. So that'd be an interesting semifinal rematch. But Hurricanes, they can just hit the ball 1 through 9. They have a solid defense. And yeah, they've been dominating so far, which has been a lot of fun to see. And the rest of the county has some questions, but I'll tell you what, Lennox and McCann are number 1 and number 2 in Class C. Lennox 1, McCann 2. And with Greenfield and Franklin Tech rebuilding, it'll be interesting to see if they can make some noise, because Lennox was a semifinalist last season, got shelled by Franklin Tech. Franklin Tech's pitcher has now been really good for MCLA. And McCann went to a semifinal a year or 2 ago, and they got shelled by Greenfield, which was going to state championship games. Their pitcher is now at Merrimack D1, and so yeah, Lennox has a huge start to this week. They beat Monument on Monday. They beat Taconic on Tuesday, and they went to beat Hopkins Academy, which is a solid softball program, on Wednesday. They have a day off today, and then they have Hoosick tomorrow in Adams. So. And then they have Wacona either Saturday or Monday. But
Saturday.
So, yeah, just some huge games coming up for the Millionaires. And they've handled it really well. They're 7-2. Their defense can be up and down. They make some errors, but they've also shown a knack for making plays when they need to. And they hit the top of their order is very good. Their bottom of the order is streaky, but when they get momentum, they came in clutch against Taconic when they needed to, and their defense made the plays. And is that keyboard connected to anything? I don't think it is. Okay, he stopped anyway. And then in regards to McCann's just a very solid team, undefeated right now. They got 2 pitchers. I don't know if you hop over there, but I believe that Emma Lamire and Avery Lane are 9-10 and are strikeout leaders.
I'm sorry, you have it ordered by inning here. 9 and 10. Yes. 10. 9 and 10. Emma Lamire has 36 Ks. Avery Lane has 27.
So yeah, pretty good. And yeah, the Hornets are just.
Emma Lamire, pitched a no hitter.
6-inning no hitter. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a single walk away from a perfect game over 6 innings against a relatively weak Mohawk Trail team.
But even still,
even still. They all count the same in the stat sheet. So Lennox, these next 2, can Lennox risk pitching Evelyn Giuliano against either? Who do you as a coach, would you make that call? Be like, all right, let's just see what happens here. See if she can hold one of these. They're going to face the 2 highest powered offenses they're going to face this year. It seems like back to back, or not back to back, but. Oh, yeah, back-to-back days. So you kind of see, you throw both and see which, what comes out, or do you try to play it as you've played the season and just try to, beat them 9-8 or whatever, 10-8, 10-8.
And we're going to answer that question after the break. Yeah. Stay tuned.
At Pittsfield Community Television, we have a saying: anyone can learn to create television. With the support of trained production staff, we can teach you how to professionally operate a camcorder, use editing software to tell a story, work as a team in a production studio, and take those skills into the community. If you've been curious as to how video production works, we'd love to have you as a member. Visit us online at pittsfieldtv.org or call us at 445-4234 for more information.
Hi, this is Sean Sayre, Executive Director of PCTV. When Taconic High School was demolished, we could have lost this radio station. Instead, PCTV stepped in, built a new studio and transmitter, and gave the station new life. and now it's time to pay that back. Support this station today. Go to WTBR-FM.com and click the donate button. You won't be sorry. Pittsfield Community Radio thanks you for your support.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Mike, great question before the break. I was trying to do a little professional hanger there. Teaser. Lennox. Evelyn Giuliano
is a more of a, so she got her 300th K earlier this season, a bit more of a strikeout pitcher, hasn't pitched a ton this year, but Cassidy Flynn is way more of a contact pitcher. So do you bring your kind of faster thrower, harder thrower to face these teams that are routinely scoring 12 runs?
Yeah, I mean, so Evelyn Giuliano got the start yesterday, and I think that's in part because Flynn pitched 2 games. But
yeah. It was a
Giuliano
busy week,
got the start, and then in the 5th inning, they pulled her, and that was important because Hopkins was hitting her. Lennox won 10-7, and then they pulled her, and I believe Flynn went shutout the rest of the way, or at least the runs were not credited against her. But they were hitting Evelyn Giuliano. Now, I didn't look too deeply into it, but I'm not quite sure if that's as much. They just could handle her in the circle, or if that was what the rest of the defense is doing, and that's important because when she's in the circle, Amaya Algers at first base comes to catch, and then Grace Giuliano, who's at shortstop, usually goes to first, and then Cassidy Flynn either has to go to second, and then Lily McDonald. And so the whole infield rearranges, and that can be a lot. And like I said, they're susceptible to errors anyway, and then you rearrange everybody, and that can just get kind of shaky. And so I think that's as much to do with it as anything, where it's like, all right, well, she might be better in the circle, but if the plays aren't going to be made, then what's the difference? So, I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see. I would not be surprised if they start Flynn and then switch to Giuliano or vice versa. I could also see them try to
change speeds mid-game.
Try to change speeds mid-game, change the approach mid-game. Also, maybe Flynn gets Huzik and then Giuliano gets Kona, right? Like, if you're playing back-to-back days against these two high-powered offenses.
Possible. The other thing, so neither of these opponents will matter for Western Mass for them.
Correct.
Do they need to win one of these 2 games, though? Just, confidence-wise?
So this is the first game against Wacona, so they do have another game against Wacona later on.
Oh, right. Yeah, Wacona's schedule is super backlogged. That's
correct.
Right. Yes, so they do, but this is the home one, though.
I mean, I think Huzik would be a huge emotional win, a huge moral win, because just like it's become a real rivalry this year, and they got you at home, and they've been undefeated. And Huzik, you could tell, really wanted that game. So now do you go and spoil things? Huzik's undefeated. Do you spoil him in Russell Field at home in Adams? Yeah, I mean, for D5 purposes, that's a huge win, right? Lennox is 8 in D5, Huzik is 2. So if you win that game, that's a huge way to say we can compete with the top of D5. And then Wacona is just like a new foe, and that's a D4 team, and that's, the second best team in Suburban West. So yeah, I think, I don't know if they need, but if they're losing, 12-6, that's a bad sign, right? I think you need to show that you can play very competitively with the 2 best teams in your league. So I don't know if it's a need, like they're 7-2, they're not hurting, but to be able to
needed for confidence.
If you can go 1-1 right here, that's a really, really great way to say we played 5 games in 6 days and we went 5-1. Or 4-1. So that would be fantastic for Lennox, but we'll see. It's been a really tough schedule, and we'll see how they come out of it. Yeah, 2 huge games. Wacona is getting a little healthier. Harper Key was their second pitcher. She has been hurt. Marley Arnold has done a great job to hold things down for them in the circle. Julia McComish, who's a freshman, got 1 game, and so they're kind of working her in. And actually, should mention, since we talked about Huzik, Graceland Wright is, I think, the most innings pitched so far this season.
Yes, tops in innings, yes. 61 innings, 46 Ks.
Yeah, she's not a strikeout person.
No, yeah. Monument's Andrea Paul, 59 and 2/3 innings, has 74 Ks. That's kind of far and away the top strikeout thrower.
She also mentioned Ava McMahon for Pittsfield has, I think, like 29 innings and 36 Ks, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know if she was hurt or they were just splitting time, but Amelia Polidoro is pitching a lot of innings there.
So she could play, but she couldn't pitch.
Yeah, so
she missed like a week and a half, and that's why Polidoro got 3 or 5 games in a row, and she has so many innings.
Yeah, she's thrown 44 innings.
All right.
For Pittsfield.
He gave me your car keys, so I guess we're switching rides.
Right.
Actually, this is your wife's car, so
yes, that's true.
that'd be an issue. So.
And you were mentioning Wacona
Yes.
beat Monument yesterday as well. Yeah,
yeah,
I could do strikeouts, but yes, beat Monument yesterday and are now 9-1 heading into at Taconic tomorrow, and then they'll have the Lennox game 4:00 at Lennox on Saturday. Marley Arnold 60 Ks in 43 2/3 innings, so
pretty good.
If you're looking at Ks per 9, Ks per 7, I couldn't figure out the math on it, so I didn't bother trying. But she would be among the leaders with Andrea Paul there.
Right. Yeah. No, she's been very, very good. She got decent velocity on her throws. Let's see. A few minutes left here. So you were at track last night. What's going on?
Yeah, I had a week. After a week off, I've covered 3 straight things, which is bizarre for me in springtime. Track. I wanted to go down. Yeah, I wanted to go down to Monument last night because, I hadn't seen them yet. All right, that's not an outlet. We're good. I hadn't seen them yet. Was hoping to obviously see Amelia Desilets and Everett Pacheco. They're 2 kind of star distance runners. Unfortunately, neither ran yesterday, which is, unfortunately the case sometimes with these things. But also wanted to go down there because a bunch of kids down there had monster invitational performances over the break. Berkshire County Track kind of takes April vacation off. But teams went out to Foxborough for the MSTCA Invitational, out to Niskayuna Classic in New York. And I think the Weston one is coming up as well. But City Colbreth, who is a sophomore at Monument, kind of broke out a little bit last year. As a jumper, was at States, I believe, for triple jump. But was hovering around, among our leaders, and then just kind of randomly popped a 48-foot 8-inch triple jump, which I want to say is like 2 to 3 feet further than his previous best, 2 to 3 feet further than our current, honor roll leaders, which is pretty wild. And then of course, I'm down there yesterday. He did not do the triple jump yesterday. So I'm not. Yeah, I was looking to see, like, is that just a crazy outlier, or are you legit jumping 48s now with some regularity, which is what you kind of have to do to stay at that level and he'll have 2 more years to continue that. But 48.08 in triple jump, 23.11 in long jump on the same day. He won the triple jump. I believe finished 2nd or 3rd in long jump. But the bigger factor is both broke Berkshire County records. School records as well, in that the Berkshire County records were held by Monument Mountain students, one of which...
Oliver Berkowitz
was recent, so that was just 2 years ago. That was long jump. So the triple jump mark had been held since 97, which is pretty crazy. And so I have Cooper Calvert is our number 2 right now, a legit track and field star. Our number 2 triple jumper, 43.08 is his current best. So Colbreth has him by 5.5-ish feet, which is confusing to think of. You're looking at it like, is that a mistake? But I mean, it was at the MSTCA Invitational, which is about as legit.
An extra bouncy track or something?
I don't know. It's that entity is about as legit as you can get in the state. So yeah, I guess it's legit, and he now holds these 2 records. Oliver Berkowitz graduated 2 years ago. Oliver Curtis set the school record in the 400 out at an invitational over the weekend as well. Then he comes in yesterday, and the 4x1 team with him and Colbreth on it sets the new school record in the 4x100. So lots of records were falling. Do mention quickly, Cohen Zahn ran a 9:51 mile, 2 mile, sorry. 9:51 mile would not be.
I
could do that.
Care about that.
9:51 2 mile. He was gunning. Their school records around 9:41, so he's shooting for that, but got under 10. The first guy to do that this season. In the Berkshires, so he's lining up, and I just want to see these kids race each other, but it doesn't seem to be happening right now.
I refuse. All right, we'll see if these kids actually, play the sport they're supposed to. It's a rainy day, so maybe not today. But interesting games coming up. Hopefully you all enjoyed Should mention Eats a Pizza coming up May 7th at the Berkshire Hills Country Club, 6 p.m. You can visit pittsfieldtv.org/pizza for more information. Hope you had a good time. Hope you have a good rest of your week. Don't plant until Monday when it's no longer frozen. And have a good day. Take it easy.